SuperTalk Mississippi media production. Pike County, here comes your morning show. Dave in the morning on 93.5 FM, SuperTalk Mississippi.
So now, understand, you're not going to dictate to me what I do and what I don't do, but I'm still the mayor, Mr. Brown.
Cheap adhesive isn't holding me. My mouth is a gun I can shoot. I can show you the truth. No pun intended, no punishment. If I offended you, you needed it. Ideas are the bombs in your mind. A fisher in time. If you don't have a weapon, you can't have mine.
None of this meeting is recorded. None by any parties. Correct?
No, sir, mine is recorded. I'm being accused.
Any confession.
I want to make it on record. I want the allegations in writing, party accused, party on recording of this harassment.
And now, here's your host, Dave Hughes.
Good morning. Once again, Monday in the rearview mirror, exactly where we like to keep it. Which means we now get to move forward into honestly a gorgeous week. Maybe a chance of rain coming in Friday, but that's because Mother Nature remembered at the last second that we like to have football games on Fridays. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, a slight chance of rain because, you know, if you're going to start out messing up the weekend, I guess you finish the whole thing, right? Then back to sunny skies on Monday, just in time to go back to work. I don't know which agency is in charge of this. The weather has to be run by the federal government. It's too messy to be otherwise. Do hope you're having a wonderful day. And speaking of messy, let's start out talking about North Carolina and what's going on up there. Still having some troubles. That's the understatement of a lifetime, by the way. The amount of problems is unreal. And I would say, you know, yesterday was interesting because former President Trump went to Valdosta, Georgia, and accused the Biden administration of not doing anything, not doing nearly enough. President Biden, they awakened him from his long nap, which started about 6 months ago. He did a press opportunity yesterday morning, took some questions, no less, and then had a video conference meeting with Governor Roy Cooper from North Carolina yesterday afternoon and took some questions there, too. So I think that was at least partially in response to President Trump being in Georgia and calling them out. But they explained that President Trump was lying. He was making this up. They were doing everything they could. And now the headline on NBC News this morning, the top headline on their website, Helene's destruction prompts questions about government's response. Sorry. There is nothing to enjoy about this disaster. There is absolutely nothing pleasurable about this entire situation. But it's funny how the narrative has suddenly become a lot more fluid lately. I don't know if you've noticed this. And of course, tonight we have the vice presidential debate. We have J.D. Vance versus Gumby. And the moderator, CBS, is conducting the debate. They have said they will not be fact-checking anyone. They're avoiding the problem where everyone has caught grief. ABC caught a lot of grief because they kept fact-checking Trump and never fact-checked Harris when she said some stupid things. So CBS is just avoiding the whole thing. Oh, no, I'm just not. We're not. We're going to ask the questions. I don't think that's a bad move. Throw it out there. Quit assuming. The press has done this on the national level for quite a while. They assume you're an idiot. They assume you're stupid. They assume you can't reason through anything or make up your own mind. So they feel the need to step in like a protective parent and make sure that you have the proper take on everything that is said by both sides, whether it be by relentlessly explaining to you how one side, the side they're against, us, is wrong. They're always wrong. They're lying. They're making stuff up. They're horrible. And the other side, they say something ridiculous and over the top, and the press just kind of gave them a wink and a nod and said, okay, moving on. Because a lack of appropriate pushback is the same thing as tacit support. And they think that everybody on the planet is too stupid to realize that. So, no fact-checking at tonight's debate. Just going to turn on the mics, ask questions, and watch the fun. There have been reports from sources inside the Walz camp, the Harris-Walz campaign, that Tim Walz is a little bit nervous. Because reportedly, and he has said this many times, he is not a good debater. You know, going up against the attorney. This is going to end well, I have no doubt. But in the middle of all that, you know they're going to ask about the disaster in North Carolina from Hurricane Helene. And you know they're going to ask some kind of question, giving Walz the opportunity to try to spin it into a discussion on climate change. I do want to point one thing out, and this matches up with what we have been doing the past 2 or 3 summers regarding it's never been hotter in the history of the world. Yeah, no, not even close. And it comes with everyone saying, and I've seen comments from people about people. I say people, I'm probably using that term loosely because I'm referring mostly to national media and elected politicians at the federal level. But people are saying and keep trying to hang this disaster in North Carolina on the hook of climate change. It's all climate change's fault. You look at the reporting from any of the news agencies, and they have to have several paragraphs about as climate change continues to cause more severe weather and problems. And then you find out that this is the worst flooding disaster since 1929 for Western North Carolina. Wait, 100 years ago they had it this bad? Well, that doesn't fit in with what we're trying to sell. So you're not hearing about that. Go look it up. You know what I always encourage you to do? Go look it up. Do your own fact-checking on that, if you will. I'm turning into CBS all of a sudden. Do your own fact-checking. I don't care. 1929, they had horrible floods there. Loss of life, huge loss of property. You know the routine. We're watching it play out again. So that was 95 years ago that happened. So climate change is so severe, it's got us back to the point we were at 100 years ago. Now, remember, we need billions of dollars in funding. You don't need a gas oven. And for crying out loud, why don't you care about what's important? Pay more taxes. You don't want it weather-wise to be doing the same things it was doing 100 years ago. The latest programming, by the way, is calling everything a once-in-a-thousand-year event. This once-in-a-thousand-year event happened 95 years ago, too. But we're not going to mention that, are we? No, we never mention that. You know why we never mention that? Because it really doesn't help us make our argument. So when you see that come up tonight, watch to see if anybody brings that point up. They won't. I can tell you in advance, they're not going to bring up the 1929 floods in North Carolina. Won't mention it. Either side. I don't know why Republicans don't start fact-checking some of these things themselves. The questions and the conversational threads they know are going to come up so that they're prepared with facts like this to come right back with. We need more of that. Imagine if Walls tonight got started on climate change. And I would assume, just from watching all his other speeches, it would be interrupted twice minimum by him stopping and raising both fists in the air and going, whoo-hoo-hoo-hoo. But imagine that he brought that up and J.D. Vance replied with, this is the worst flood since 1929, which means we're back to where we were 95 years ago. How is climate change destroying everything when it's doing what it's always done in terms of the climate? Bad stuff happens. Where's the disconnect here? Well, I think we all know where the disconnect here is. It's between quite a few pairs of ears. There's a loose wire flopping around somewhere. Debate tonight's going to be interesting. But let's all remember, please, still, it's a vice presidential debate. Name a vice presidential debate that's ever mattered in the long run. I think we do it just so the vice presidential candidates don't feel left out. We continue on this Tuesday morning on SuperTalk Mississippi Pike County 93.5. With just how much stuff is about to start going up in price again. And we have the agenda for tonight's little get-together, the McComb City Board of Mayor and Selectmen. It's work session night. We'll talk about what they've got coming up to discuss this evening when we come back. Keep it here.
This is Kristen with Selman's Jewelers. I'm excited to start a new trivia question of the week, so stay tuned for the answers. This week's question is going to be about the October birthstone opal. Opals are formed how many years ago? Opals form in several different colors. We'd love for you to stop by and see our collection today. Come by Selman's, your family-owned jewelry store since 1945, 1311 Delaware Avenue, McComb.
Don't miss Dave in the morning, even when you miss it the first time. You can catch it on the podcast. Missing out would be a crime. SuperTalk 93.5 is always the place to be. Wanna get the podcast version? Here, my friend, is the key. SuperTalkPikeCounty.com. It's all there and it's all the rage. Spotify, Amazon or Apple, or just right there on the page. Dave in the morning, late at night, or anytime you have the break. SuperTalk Pike County. McComb. It's all there and it's all the rage. Spotify, Amazon, or Apple, or just right there on the page.
North Pike football is back. It's another exciting season of North Pike Jaguar football on SuperTalk Mississippi Pike County 93.5. Brought to you by Chick-fil-A, Toyota of Brookhaven, Ag Up, Exhaust Pro, Southwest Mississippi Regional Medical Center, Peterbilt of McComb, and Lot Furniture. It's North Pike Jaguar football on the air at 93.5 FM. Available online at supertalkpikecounty.com and through your Alexa devices.
I'm alright, nobody but about me. Why you got to give me a fight? Can't you just let it be? I'm alright, don't nobody but about me. You got to give me a fight. Why don't you just let me be? Do what you like, do it naturally. But if it's too easy,
Great question from Mose. So, Dave, whatever happened to asking the candidates the same question? In the last few cycles, the questions have been tailored to help the Democrat and try to trap the Republican. Well, that's what happens when the national media has given up all pretense of being fair and unbiased and are 100% in the tank for one side. They've made it crystal clear at this point. Unfortunately, it's not even surprising by now. This is just the way things are, right? Unfortunately, it's just the way things are. All right. I know you've heard about it. We had it on Fox News at the top of the hour. We have a strike going on with the longshoremen, the dock workers. This is a little bit impactful. Not quite so much for us because it starts up in Maine and goes all the way down and around to Texas. All of the major ports from Maine all the way down Florida, along the Gulf Coast, New Orleans is included, and into Texas. And the dock workers are the ones that load and unload the cargo ships, right? Which, if they're on strike, means no cargo is being loaded or unloaded at those ports. Well, I was talking to my wife yesterday because we have gotten into a little bit of a pattern here lately. I don't know why, but we accidentally watched the last Batman movie on National Batman Day. You didn't know there was a Batman Day? Us either. Turns out that's when we finally decided, we don't want to watch this. Let's see what it is. It was good. Did a good job. Very much a crime drama. Well, now they have a spin-off series from that with Colin Farrell and 72 pounds of makeup playing the Penguin, one of the villains of the Batman universe. The name of the series is The Penguin. They did not bury the lead there, did they? But it is very much a mob gangster drama. Very much so. From the accents to the clothes to what they do to how they do it. And it's good. I would highly recommend. I think there's 3 episodes out now, 2 or 3 episodes out now. It's very well done. If you like things like Goodfellas, you'll love it. You will absolutely love it. Hasn't been a cape scene anywhere. Nobody flying around shooting lasers out of their hands. Nothing. It's just a bunch of mobsters in a fictional universe. It's The Sopranos with a waddle. But I was watching it, and now as I'm watching things unfold, while we started watching all of this and started getting immersed into this universe, came to the realization, we're also, by the way, watching, I had never seen it, the old Gotham TV show, which is about right after Bruce Wayne's parents get killed. It's a lot of the same stuff. It's very much a crime drama. While we're getting into this, the entire scandal surfaced in New York City and started to break. And I started noticing some parallels to the fictional universe and how the real world is operating, or has always operated, but is being revealed. Then we come up to the strike, the longshoreman strike, last night at midnight 01. Contract expired at midnight. So at 12:01, the longshoremen went on strike. Now, there were some last-minute talks. They offered them right at a 50% pay increase and triple the contributions to their retirement funds. Well, the union said no thank you. And I'll tell you why. It's pretty clear. It's pretty apparent what the key issue here is. It's not the money. Oh, they want more money. If we're going to strike, let's get everything we can. It's about their demands, the union's demands, that for this 6-year contract, the ports and the employers agree to not put automation into place to take the jobs of the people that have been doing these jobs forever. That is the actual issue here. That's they didn't put higher wages, better retirement, any of that on the picket signs. The picket signs talk about automation. That is the issue. That is the hurdle that has to be cleared to get past this. That's what the union has demanded, plus a 77% pay increase. They asked for a 77% pay increase, better retirement, and a ban on automation at ports on the eastern half of the United States. The Port Alliance, the Maritime Alliance, counter-offered with an almost 50% pay raise, triple the contributions to retirement, and no mention about automation. So they went on strike. It's not surprising. But I said all that, and I told you all that about the Batman universe and the current stuff being put out in the Batman universe, the Penguin, which is the top show, one of the top shows on streaming television on Max. Because this is another case where I'm seeing parallels. Because you've got the head of the International Longshoremen's Association, the ILA, that's the union that is on strike, did an interview wearing his polo shirt with the ILA logo printed on it, you know, right up at the breast pocket area where you do. Over that, wearing an enormous gold chain. No, I'm not kidding. Go look it up. He looks exactly like he sounds, and he sounds like a character from The Sopranos, from the Penguin. It's amazing. Listen to this. I want you to listen to this guy. This is like a minute and a half long. Listen to it. It's interesting.
Explain something to you. These people today don't know what a strike is.
Right.
When my men hit the streets, from Maine to Texas, every single port will lock down. You know what's going to happen? I'll tell you. First week, be all over the news every night, boom, boom. Second week, guys who sell cars can't sell cars because the cars ain't coming in off the ships. They get laid off. Third week, malls start closing down. They can't get the goods from China. They can't sell clothes. They can't do this. Everything in the United States comes on a ship. They go out of business. Construction workers get laid off because the materials aren't coming in. The steel's not coming in. The lumber's not coming in. They lose their job. Everybody's hating the longshoremen now because now they realize how important our jobs are. Now I have the president screaming at me, I'm putting a Taft Hartley on you. Go ahead.
Let me explain the Taft-Hartley for those of you that aren't aware. The Taft-Hartley Act allows a sitting president to intervene in a strike if he considers it to be of national importance. It's been used with railroad strikes recently. What that means is the president can just say, look, nope, hold on. I'm invoking the Taft-Hartley Act. We have an 80-day cooling off period. You keep working as you are while we continue talks and try to sort this out. We're not shutting everything down. This is too critical. President Biden's been asked about the Taft-Hartley Act in association with this, and as you hear this guy explaining it, there is some truth to what he's saying. The dock workers are extremely important. The ports of America are extremely important when it comes to the supply chain. You would think that would rise to the level of invoking the Taft-Hartley Act. That's why that act exists. But they asked him, and he said, no, I'm not going to do that. It's a labor dispute. I'm not getting in the middle of it. What's the point of the Taft-Hartley Act if you don't invoke it to avoid the situation that Harold Doggett, that's this guy's name, is describing here with the strike that started at midnight? Let me finish the audio here because you really need to hear the end of it.
Taft-Hartley on you. Go ahead. Taft-Hartley means I have to go back to work for 90 days. That's a cooling off period. Do you think when I go back for 90 days, those men are going to go to work on that pier? It's going to cost the company's money to pay their salaries. Well, they went from 30 moves an hour maybe to 8. They're going to be like this. Who's going to win here in the long run? You're better off sitting down and let's get a contract and let's move on with this world. And in today's world, I'll cripple you. I will cripple you. And you.
Yes. I'm pretty sure under the guise of a labor dispute, he just threatened the entire country, didn't he? But you see what I'm saying? That's why I'm drawing the parallels between this whole situation and Gotham. Go watch The Penguin and tell me that guy, you wouldn't even notice him if he walked in and said a few lines. He blends. No comment whatsoever on whether or not he's a good guy. He's doing what he thinks is right, and that's all anybody can do. But it's just the actions coupled with the appearance that we're getting. Got Eric Adams and all of his nonsense going on. Another one of his top aides quit yesterday, said, nope, I'm out, I'm done. They got 15 people in that administration in New York who are under investigation, including one guy, that guy's brother, and the first guy's fiance, who were all in high-level spots. The mayor's brother is involved in this because he was involved. Everything is starting to look like a crime family, but I want to give you a little bit of an insight here. It's not just starting to be like that. You're just starting to be allowed to see it. It's being talked about. And honestly, it's kind of good in a way. And here's why I say that. I think we're seeing in several cases the last best shot from people who would like to use another Batman quote, watch the world burn. Because they know what's coming next month in November 5th. So there are a lot of things that are changing right now based on what everybody thinks is going to happen in the election. And increasingly, more and more media outlets, politicians, pundits are all starting to lean in that direction themselves. CNN has started talking about how Trump has opened up a lead in Pennsylvania. I mean, they're flabbergasted when they talk about it. But if ever there has been a group of guests that needed to be flabbered real good, it's the folks at CNN. So good for them. So buckle up. But we had this strike. What does this mean to us? Now, it doesn't affect any ports in Mississippi. It's only it's like 45,000 roughly dock workers. But that doesn't matter. The strike just started at midnight, going on today. They're going to be working hard to try to sort this out, try to figure this out. They haven't been on strike since 1977. It's been 50 years almost. Now, they're fighting against the idea of automation coming into the ports. It's almost solely run by automation at ports in Japan. So these are not unfounded worries. They're not unfounded fears. It's already being done that way in other places. So they didn't just make this up. But at the same time, one month before the presidential election, heading into the holiday season, and that's when this is going to happen. That's when the strike is going to kick into gear. That's not remotely suspicious. Prices will go up. Some things will get scarce. Bananas is the one everybody keeps mentioning, but it's very much factually based. We have a steady stream of bananas being shipped into the country because I don't know if you've noticed, there's not a lot of banana plantations in America. So pretty quickly, because you can't stock that up in advance, a lot of other things, especially your holiday shopping stuff, that's been in the stores. Heck, that's been out on the shelves since June in some places. Looking at you, Hobby Lobby. So we're not in danger of the holidays being destroyed because of this. But some things will be a little different. If for whatever reason you're a little bit strange and you like to leave the kids bananas in their stockings, that could get rough. Because you can't order those in and just keep them in the warehouse. So over the next week or two, you can expect bananas to get a little more scarce if this strike continues. So it will have some impact, not quite to the extent that he was talking about. Clothes, they're stocked up. Warehouses are full. They've been preparing for the holiday season. If you wait until October to start getting ready for the holiday season in retail, you're too late. You blew it. So a little bit of hyperbole there. In the long run, if this kind of thing went on for months, yeah, he's right. Never had one go on for months. And I expect this one will end at the outside. The longest time it'll last, about 34 days, 35 days. And that's it. And then it'll be done. So yeah, I say all that to say this: don't go hoard toilet paper again. I like the 2-ply. I like the good stuff. I don't want to have to drive around looking for it. There's no need. We actually make our toilet paper in America. So please don't pull what everybody pulled 4 years ago and go hoard the toilet paper. Don't look at me like that. It's already happened once in the last 5 years. So please don't tell me that would never happen. So the strike is ongoing. A potential second-tier Batman villain is involved. Go watch Penguin and then listen to that guy again and watch him as he's giving that interview and tell me it doesn't have the same energy. It doesn't strike the same tone. Chris got 556 rolls. You get low, dude. For you, I mean, you're scraping the bottom there. You gotta, well, so to speak. Thank you. I'll be here all week. You gotta go stock up a little bit, buddy. Half of that's at his deer stand. So, yeah. Anyway. There is something else that could impact everything, basically, in terms of price and availability that nobody's really talking about. Wanted to talk about it yesterday, didn't have the time. So when we come back, I'm going to tell you about the one thing involved in Western North Carolina's disaster and the recovery efforts.
Tired of being what
that you probably haven't heard about that could have an impact on everything.
Don't know what you're expecting of me.
And we still have the agenda for tonight's work session to get to as we continue on a Tuesday morning on Super Talk, Mississippi Pike County 93.5.
Every step that I take is another mistake to you. Caught in the undertow, just caught in the undertow. I've become so numb, I can't feel you there. Become so tired, so much more aware. I'm becoming this. All I want to do is be more like me and be less like you. Can't you see?
This is Kristen with Selman's Jewelers. I'm excited to start a new trivia question of the week, so stay tuned for the answers. This week's question is going to be about the October birthstone opal. Opals are formed how many years ago? Opals form in several different colors. We'd love for you to stop by and see our collection today. Come by Selman's, your family-owned jewelry store since 1945, 1311 Delaware Avenue, McComb.
Don't escape in the morning. Even when you miss it the first time, you can catch it on the podcast. Missing out would be a crime. Super Talk 93.5 is always the place to be. Want to get the podcast version? Here, my friend, is the key. SuperTalkPikeCounty.com. It's all around, it's all the rage. Spotify, Amazon, or Apple, just right there on the page. Dave in the morning, late at night, or anytime you have the crave. SuperTalkPikeCounty.com.
Weekday mornings at 6 after 9 on 93.5 FM, or you can catch up anytime by going to
SuperTalkPikeCounty.com.
Dave in the Morning at SuperTalkPikeCounty.com. Catch up and catch on. North Pike football is back. It's another exciting season of North Pike Jaguar football on Super Talk Mississippi Pike County 93.5. Brought to you by Chick-fil-A, Toyota of Brookhaven, Ag Up, Exhaust Pro, Southwest Mississippi Regional Medical Center, Peterbilt of McComb, and Lot Furniture. It's North Pike Jaguar football on the air at 93.5 FM. Available online at SuperTalkPikeCounty.com and through your Alexa devices.
Late at night, mind is yearning. Restless night, wanna be with you. Someone's playing in the garden, so enticing. Should I take a bite? I don't know what's come over me. Yeah.
Oh, I see some people are starting to catch on to something that I realized over the weekend.
As a Chevy,
But it's one of those things that most people don't realize
when she touches,
is a potential problem. Now, I'm talking about computer chips. We've heard a lot of mention of that from Biden and then Harris when talking about economic factors, saying that, you know, they brought chip manufacturing back to America. Well, it's about to be nowhere for a while. Because you may have seen in the coverage of North Carolina and what's going on, mention of a community named Spruce Pine. This town has 2,194 residents. About the size, you know, of Magnolia. Spruce Pine got over 2 feet of rain on the town. The roads are destroyed. The buildings are damaged or gone. They have nothing, no water, no power, no anything, just like a lot of communities up there in the Appalachian Mountains. But what you may not know, did you know that Spruce Pine, North Carolina, is also the home of the only source of high quality quartz crystal in the world that's of high enough quality to be used to make semiconductors and computer chips. There was a professor from Wharton who was doing an interview back in March, actually, about this because somebody had noticed it. And, well, his thing, he actually said back in March in the interview, if anything ever happens to the town of Spruce Pine, it could end technology as we know it. As you know, there has been a big ramp up. Now, let's think about how widespread this is because it's shut down. You go to Spruce Pine, and to get to that facility back there next to the mine and the mine itself, you go down a little dirt road. I mean, this is not some grandiose, operation. It is, but it isn't. There's no getting stuff out of there. There's no working on it right now. I don't know if you've noticed, there is an enormous demand for computer chips right now. As a matter of fact, that was part of the cause of the new automobile shortage that we went through for a while because they were having trouble getting the chips. With the world's, not America's, the world's only mine that produces quartz at a high enough level of quality to be useful for this, it's down. What does that affect? Well, ask yourself this question. What in your life has a computer chip in it? I mean, some things are obvious. Your computer, yeah. Phones, cars. After this hurricane hit over the weekend, this hit me, and I got to looking around the house. I think our toaster oven and our Fry Daddy are the only appliances we have that don't have computer chips in them. Televisions. Video games, the list goes on and on and on. Everything has become computerized. Everything is starting to get layered with artificial intelligence, and that could come to a screeching halt because of this hurricane hitting very hard one town of just over 2,000 people in North Carolina. That does bring up another point, though, another interesting fact. Because most people weren't aware of that. Like I said, now, this morning, I've been talking to people about it for quite a little bit. Now, this morning, NPR has a story about it. Business Insider. The news agencies have finally realized, wait a minute. And now they're reporting on this. Do you realize just how fragile the world we have built is? How little it takes to wreck the whole shooting match? To the point to where, again, one small town of just over 2,000 people in the Appalachian Mountains in North Carolina got hit by a hurricane, and it could cripple multiple industries worldwide. Think about that. That's an interesting place to be, and that's an awfully fragile foundation upon which to build your house. So I said all that to say this. Oh, sleep easy. We're doing great. The McComb City Board, the Board of Mayor and Select Men and Select Women, work session tonight at 5:30. First item, a citizen coming asking for a waiver of the alcohol ordinance for the MLK Center. We'll see how that goes. Again, there have been some of these requests that I'm like, well, yeah, of course, you grant that immediately. I have to apologize. I don't remember her name, but it's been like a year and a half, 2 years ago. A lady came up and talked to the board. One of the alcohol requirements raised because she wanted a drink at her birthday. They were having a birthday party for her over at the MLK Center, and she was turning, I think, like 80 or 90 or something like that. And I'm like, by all means, get that woman a drink. She's put up with this nonsense for close to a century. Yes. Have two. We'll pop the top for you. Yes. But at which point does it become apparent that maybe you just need to do away with the ordinance? I say this all the time. I say the same thing about the fees to use city-owned properties. If everybody gets a pass, then you don't have a fee. You have a bureaucratic step. I'd like to see one of them get turned down every so often. They can't all be perfect requests and great ideas, especially in the current climate in America and Pike County and McComb right now. Maybe less drunk people would help. It's not going to hurt. Number 2, another citizen, Clinton Jefferson, wanting to appeal a decision to limit the capacity of a building in town. Number 3, Kenny Cotton, former sheriff, wants to talk to the board about leasing a building for veterans programs. Just from that item, just from that description, do it. Veterans programs. I dare anyone to argue against veterans programs. I don't want to hear it. If it's going to truly benefit the veterans, yeah, do it. We don't do enough in that direction. Chief McKenzie from the fire department talking tonight about the fire department haunted house and related Halloween activities. Every year, they x-ray the candy and inspect it and do all those kind of things. And they're doing a haunted house. I just hope Chief McKenzie is going to participate, and he's going to have like a sheet with 2 eye holes cut out of it so that when the kids come in there, he can just step out from around the corner and go, boo, and then step right back to where he was. I don't want much for Christmas. Don't really have a Christmas list, but that whole concept is now on there. Here's one talking about the usage of computer chips in today's society. This makes more sense than you think at first glance, because the item on the agenda, Chris Kuo is going to be there with SimSites. The item description for discussion is software for cemeteries. And your first thought is, for what? Doing your taxes on the headstones? What do you need software for the cemetery? But he's, I believe here anyway, talking about being able to look up the graves and the locations and the information about them, which would actually be quite useful. I like that. I like that idea. So we'll see what he has to say about that tonight. Selectman Cotting has several items to discuss. Garage house count update, audit update. That's we're going to get the same answer we always get. Active project funding breakdown with engineering costs outlined, and a homeless ordinance. Item number 8 is Selectman McKenzie with several items to talk about. The fire chief's hiring process and advertisement, the policy to advertise for positions. Sewer charge policy at Gateway, update on water meter repairs. Paving repair on West Avenue at Highway 51. I've seen that. It needs it desperately. Leak on Highway 51 near Veterans. I'm glad he specified because we have several a day, it feels like. And a paving repair on Marion near Delaware, which has been a minefield for quite a while. It looks like something, well, it would look like something the Romans built during their time if it were in better shape. So, yeah, that's another perfectly valid request, I think. And yes, I know we're about to overlay Delaware and do all this. I don't care. People's front ends are getting unaligned now. We can at least do something to smooth that out a bit. Selectman Mullins wants to talk about the unveiling of 3 Mississippi Freedom Trail markers. City Administrator David Myers discussing payment to Twin L Construction, the board appointment to the Historic Preservation Board, And item number 12, here's where they get you. Here's where they sneak up on you. Item number 12 to be discussed tonight, budget amendments. You know, that's where now we go back and we move a bunch of money around and add a bunch of money and fix what we didn't do right this year. I hope there are no eye-watering totals with 2 commas in the number. I really hope that. I'm also hoping Chief McKenzie's going to pull the ghost thing at the fire station haunted house, and I don't think either one is possible, but
If you cry,
come on, picture it if you know Chief McKenzie. You know Gary, come on. Just stepping out from the side. He's not a small guy. Little kid coming in there. They got their rainbow toast costume or whatever the kids are into now on. And they're all happy and excited, and he just steps out with a sheet and just goes, boo. Come on, let's make this happen. We'll close it up next.
let me take a step towards you. Let me feel you in my hands. Let me cross this line and show you where it leads. There's a darkness down inside me that I know we'll both enjoy, and it's screaming from within.
This is Kristen with Selman's Jewelers. I'm excited to start a new trivia question of the week, so stay tuned for the answers. This week's question is going to be about the October birthstone opal. Opals are formed how many years ago? Opals form in several different colors. We'd love for you to stop by and see our collection today. Come by Selman's, your family-owned jewelry store since 1945, 1311 Delaware Avenue, McComb.
North Pike football is back. It's another exciting season of North Pike Jaguar football on SuperTalk Mississippi Pike County 93.5. Brought to you by Chick-fil-A, Toyota of Brookhaven, Ag Up, Exhaust Pro, Southwest Mississippi Regional Medical Center, Peterbilt of McComb, and Lot Furniture. It's North Pike Jaguar football on the air at 93.5 FM. Available online at supertalkpikecounty.com and through your Alexa devices.
Closing time. Open all the doors and let you out into the world.
One final thought. I have seen multiple people this morning on Facebook specifically sharing a picture of former President Trump in jeans and a blue shirt, a work shirt with a life jacket on, walking next to some other person through knee-deep water with cars driving through it behind them, sharing it, going, oh my gosh, this is so inspirational. This is so great. This is what we need. Well, we don't have it. Number one, have you ever seen former President Trump in jeans? Number two, he didn't do this. It's not real. Zoom in on it. All of the yellow hat the guy's wearing next to him, that's completely illegible writing, and what you can make out doesn't make sense. This is an artificial intelligence generated image, which means when you put this out as an example of something inspiring that leads you to feel good about America, congratulations, you're being inspired by a lie. Okay, technically that's a definition of politics in general. But can we get a little less gullible about artificial intelligence? Trump went to Georgia yesterday, did great stuff. Why don't we focus on that instead of made-up stuff? It's aggravating. Have a wonderful day. We'll do this again tomorrow morning at 9:06, my friend. I'll see you then.
A SuperTalk Mississippi media production.